Billy Graham said something that I wanted to share. Bill Clinton asked Billy Graham to sit next to him during the Monica Lewinsky situation. People asked him, they go, why would you use your reputation, spreading the love of God, and sit with a man who cheated on his wife and give him the glory that God gave you? Why would you do that? Why would you sit there and participate in that? And his answer was beautiful. He says, Jesus came down to love and forgive. He goes, the Holy Spirit came down to convict. And then the Father is the one who judges. A lot of people want to do all three of God's jobs when he asked us only to love and forgive.
I'm just playing, I don't fight, I do pray. I only go the way of Mr. Yahweh.
It's not often I sit down with somebody and they say something that makes me think.
Brother, this was great.
I love you guys.
But you give me something to think about.
My own damn way.
I had a lot of fun on this interview.
Do you think people forgot how good you are at that?
That was good.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
I think that was a great way to start the podcast. How you guys doing today?
Did
We're
you
really good.
You started?
Oh, hell yeah. I started
You
as soon as
started?
I'm a sneaky little starter. What's up, guys? Welcome back. Sorry, this like headphone thing is like, how you guys feeling?
Great.
Good.
Guys, I want to catch you up.
Okay.
I got some energy. I got some news. I got some excitement. I got some things going on. A lot of things I can't talk about, but there's a lot of things I could talk about. So it's a good thing we have a podcast.
Start with the ones you can't talk about, please.
Okay. JFK. Just go into like conspiracies.
Well,
which, by the way, is crazy about that, right?
Isn't it?
Yeah. We'll get into politics later throughout the time because people are just tuning in and be like, whoa, relax. Welcome back, guys, to the George Janko Show. I am here with my lovely co-hosts, Shawna Della Rica and Reed Calder. Calder.
Every time.
I don't know why.
Thank you, man.
It's
I don't
a
know.
thing.
It's because you see the spelling in your head when you're saying it.
Sure.
There's no excuses.
We got to start over. All right. So 2 guests ago, we have so much to catch you up on, and my goodness, this is going to be a great episode. God bless you guys. I love you guys so much. I'm very excited. I have so much energy, and I'll explain why I have so much energy. Okay. So 2 episodes ago, let's take it one step at a time, right?
Set the scene.
Yes, thank you. We had Paul
Saladino.
So Paul taught me about the way that he eats and moves around. And to be honest, like sometimes I listen to guests and sometimes I'm like, nah, I'll hang back on this one. I did like his energy, man. Not like his energy, like his aura. Not like that. I'm talking about like this dude's 50 years old, biking around my neighborhood, jumping around, acting like a kid. Like he has that energy. And on top of that, I asked him, I go, bro, be real. Are you on roids? He's like, no, bro, I'll show you my blood work. So I was like, okay, so what's the secret to the sauce? He goes, I just eat real food, bro. I don't eat the junk food. I don't eat any of that stuff. I'm 2 weeks in, bro. Mm-hmm. Yo. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you guys, only eat meat, because I'm not even doing that. I just eat real food.
Yep.
I'm not eating anything that's fake or processed or have any of that sugar in any of my beverages.
It's a lot easier than it sounds.
No, it's not.
Really?
Not if you were like me, bro. And to be honest, I ddid not know how much no discipline I had when it came to my mouth, bro.
I've been doing great.
It was bad. Well, bro, look at your body frame. You know what I mean? And also, every time I would pop a soda and I'll be like, yo, you want a soda? I literally buy you a soda with your meal and you're like, no, throw it away. And you like throws it in the garbage.
Just black coffee and water.
So that should show you the level of like obedience you had to your temple versus me. I just was like Mountain Dew, like everything, every single time I was traveling, and I would blame it on like my travel or do all this stuff. But bro, he was like, no, if you really want it and you're disciplined, you could get it done. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try to get this done. I'm 2 weeks in, and I'm gonna walk you throughout episodes of my life, and this is the first time I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna make it quick because I'm not gonna sit here and harp about a diet. I have so much more energy. I have no brain fog so far. I have literally endless amount of ideas. Like I'm so creative and I'm just hyper. Sleeping to me got really good out of nowhere. I used to have really, really bad sleeping patterns. I fall asleep easy as hell now. I'll wake up, even if I don't have that much sleep, which is crazy. I want this to be on the record. Even if I have like only a few hours of sleep because I'm working, I wake up the next day like a crack baby, bro. I'm like ready to rock. Like last night, I didn't have any night's sleep. I woke up today and I was like, I'm ready to go. Look, let's just get up, and I got it. Also, I need to chill out.
Can you just take 1 second and just breathe for like 5 seconds?
So this is my only concern. I'm adjusting to my new energy. I have my childlike energy again. I have that ADD, like when I'm sitting and I can't listen to somebody because I'm like tapping. I have so much energy. but I'm also so focused, which is really crazy.
That's a dangerous combo. That's good, man.
Bro, I feel great. Thank God. Thank God.
I've been doing the same thing. I've just been eating meat, fruit, and vegetables, and that's it.
Okay, so vegetables I haven't been eating because he said stay away from.
Yeah,
but
I'm feeling crazy.
So just
I'm
having
eating
like
greens.
a lot of protein, meats, eggs, honey, all fruits, and he does have sweet potato. Sweet potato is probably the only like
but it's a lot.
carb,
You want
that's
that
not a
sweet
fruit.
potato?
And
he's
Paul
having.
is super passionate, bro. He's on the phone with me every day. Like, and one time I didn't text him back because I was busy, and like I missed like 2 days of texting him, and he goes, "You gave up, didn't you?" Like I was like,
he did.
Yeah, and I was
so
like,
funny.
no, and he's so cute, bro. He sends me voice memos. He goes, "Come on, man, you're on your second quarter. This is gonna be really good."
Aww.
Don't blah blah blah. But also, like, I'll hit him up. I'm like, "Yo, bro, why am I having diarrhea, bro?" And he goes, "You're just filtering out," and he was right. My bowel movement right now is amazing right now. So like,
Congratulations.
It's like I went through this filter. So I just
You,
a
like,
quick-
cleansed out.
I
You
did.
cleansed.
So check this out. If you guys think that you have parasites, I had this same reaction of just eating clean food and being good to my temple and not having chips and soda, having discipline. The first 2 weeks is incredibly hard, by the way. Just FYI, if you could push past the 2 weeks, then you're done. I have no more hunger for sugar. I am never hungry anymore. Before, I was always hungry, even if I ate. I was always hungry, always hungry. I'm never hungry anymore. Unless it's right around the time I need to have my meal, then I go, I devour.
You're satisfied.
Like a hunter, I devour. And then I'm done. And then I have like, and if I do want some like sweets now, I'm really craving like an apple or like
But so
a
what
banana.
were you saying about parasites?
The same thing that happened to me with the parasites. I used to have bumps right here on the side of my arms right here. And if you, this camera is so clean, you could see there's little white dots because they dried up and fell off. And so I looked it up and they said that if you have little balls on this side of thing, it could be parasites.
Your body is literally healing itself.
Bro, it is.
Because you're just giving it what
Just
what you
because
should.
I'm eating properly.
Yeah.
My body
And-
is a hospital. I'm just treating it with love and respect.
100%. And you're not feeding the monsters. You know what I'm saying? Like those parasites, they
Wait, what?
feed on the carbs, they feed on the like fake sugars and everything. So
Are you the monster? What just happened?
So when you deprive them of those things, then they're like, we're hungry.
But what if you don't
And
want
they
them to
die.
be sad?
Too bad, you're out, buddy.
Also,
no one
I will
invited
admit, you go through like it's kind of like a fast. You know how like when you get like aggravated when you're hangry and stuff, you're super emotional because your body is like, yo, what's going on? So I asked Paul, I go, yo, why am I like, I feel like my hormones are all over the place. He goes, they are. They're like trying to balance themselves out again. He goes, you're having withdrawals. So I got so upset about my withdrawals. I'm more concentrated on the fact that my body needs this. That's embarrassing. Like I should not need anything this much. So I like stuck through it. I did smart things. I distanced myself from things that really upset me and normally. And so this actually ties in with the next thing I'm about to talk about. So when I had the new house in Arizona and I'm sitting there, I have one room dedicated for worshiping. And dude, this has changed my life, bro. I start every morning with the gospel now, and I end my nights with the gospel. This is all I could say, and I'm trying to say this quick. We're under 10 minutes. I'm literally just trying to make this as clear as possible.
You don't have to speed through things.
I don't know why I feel like I need to.
We have to do a whole hour.
Sorry. But I
People
just
are
want,
actually here to
I want
to hear you talk.
But I have so much to cover. I
Got
just
it.
want to.
Okay.
I want to keep them interested.
then hurry it up.
It's so funny. The diet, good. We got the temple, the feeding of the temple in check.
Can I say one really quick thing about the diet?
Yeah.
From somebody that's never, like, anytime somebody talks about diet, I'm like, okay, I can't relate. Like, I could eat so much and my body just, like, I don't know if it's my metabolism, my genes, but I've never thought about diet. And I also have eaten so much bread, so much pasta, like, my whole life. And I just recently did this diet from Paul, and I was like, I want to see how I feel. And I feel like a new person.
Dude.
Like and that's coming from somebody that, like, if you looked at my body and I'll eat In-N-Out I'll eat so much In-N-Out and my body will look exactly the same afterwards.
Yep.
So it's like my body isn't telling me I need to change, but I wasn't listening to the right things. Because I was tired all the time. I'm like very creatively passionate, but I would just be so tired and I'd be like, I'll work on that tomorrow. And now that I'm focusing on my diet and what I'm putting into my body, it's not just a body thing, it's also a mind thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel so inspired every day I wake up to work on creative things.
This is why I had it right here. Blessed is the man who can endure temptations. You were just explaining that in such a perfect way. You're
Yeah.
like, my body doesn't change when it comes to becoming fat or looking obese or anything like that. I didn't think my hormones were being affected because I'm like, oh, I'm just carrying on with my day. I don't have any problem with it. I'm not seeing a difference. But the reason I didn't see a difference because I didn't do the separation of it. Once I gave myself that separation, I was like, whoa, bro, I'm so much more patient.
Yeah.
I'm so much more relaxed. Things that used to give me anxiousness and I used to be like, now I'm just kind of like, all right.
Yeah, and
We'll
I was
get
just
through
saying that because there's people listening that they hear diet and they go, oh, that doesn't apply to me. I don't care.
Yeah.
And to that person, no. Think about it. Are you tired at 2 p.m.? Your body might not be showing it, but if you reflect on your mind and how you feel on a daily basis, there's probably room for improvement. So that's all I wanted to say there.
And,
Yeah.
and you know what it is?
Amazing.
It's also things that you wouldn't notice. Like if I had a certain amount of brain fog, I didn't know how much until I separated myself. And I'm like, bro, I used to stutter when I was talking, or like I would sit there thinking about something and completely forget it. Like it's really crazy, but it's also not crazy to think that whatever you're putting in your body is becoming you.
So simple.
You guys
It's
are
so
putting
simple,
that
bro.
good fuel in now, and like your gut is literally the center of your body. Like this is like our center point of our
Wow.
body, and our gut is the center of our health. And so like it dictates how you feel, how you move, your weight, and everything.
Going back to the spiritual realm, because I did like two different things. And okay, so I got my body with this diet. In the spiritual realm, I started just really seeing the difference of me making small adjustments with my mouth, and look how much it helped my life, that I was like, dude, I got to start making adjustments to my spiritual realm. I can't get content of where I'm at just because people are high-fiving me and be like, good job, you're talking about Jesus. That's not enough. I got to keep growing and getting better. So I have this little story I want to share with you guys. I got really busy. I've been traveling, and I've been really kind of insecure with my animals. I feel like I don't want them to think that I'm abandoning them or not being with them or not being able to play with them, because usually how my life works is I work for a little bit and then I have a few days off. I get to spend time with them. And I know this sounds stupid, but I'm practicing me being a father with these animals.
That doesn't sound stupid at all.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I want to make sure that like how I am as like the master of the beasts, I also want to be a good father to the child. So I'm sitting there with Leo, and Leo's like, my cat, he walks away, and I'm like, this sounds stupid, but I want you guys to follow me. This really is something that I wrote down
So cute.
to share with you guys. He's walking up the stairs because he's fed up with me. He doesn't want to hang out with me, right? He's like, oh, you just want to come play now. So he's going up the stairs, and I run upstairs. I'm playing with him, and I could see in his eyes he's excited that I'm there and I'm playing with him. And in my heart, I just go, God, I pray that this cat knows how much I love him. Like, I don't want him to see me come and go and think that I'm abandoning him, or if I'm playing with Tommy too much. Now, mind you, a lot of men are going to be watching me like, bro, what the hell is wrong with you, bro? But truly in my heart, I love my animals. And I looked at this animal and I asked my God, I go, God, like, I'm the master of this beast, but I want this beast to know that I love him. Like, I would do anything for him, right? Like, I want to make sure that this cat knows that I love him. That week, my behaviors changed. So like when I was like, you know, I made time before I went somewhere. Like all of a sudden I realized in that week, the only thing that changed in the relationship was me. And I was like, wow, this is crazy. But then this is the craziest part. My cat started changing how it behaves with me. It started meowing at the door in the mornings because it wants me to cuddle him in the morning. It started realizing when I'm going to bed, so he'll meet me upstairs. Like the behavior of this beast, this animal, changed because I changed first. So then I'm sitting here, I'm giggling to myself. I was like, man, I just did a whole prayer and a routine, and this relationship between me and this beast changed because I asked God, I want this cat to know that I love it. So then I thought to myself, what if I had that same energy with human beings? With Reed, with Belle, with my mom, with my dad. And just quietly to myself, I talked to God and I said, God, I want to be a better manager to Reed. I want to be a better man of God to Belle. I want to be a better son to my mom. But before I asked all those better things, I said, I want them to know that I love them. Because what I think is best might not be what's best. So I just said, I want them to know that I love them. And the way I spoke to Belle changed. The way me and you behaved under stress changed. The way that me and my parents would debate heartwarming, like things that could separate a family because it's too much, that changed. And single-handedly, every single person that I said that prayer to, you, Belle, and my mom, all pulled me aside and said, you've changed. And you've gotten better at this, or you gotten better at this, or you got better in this. And it all stemmed from me saying, God, I want this person to know that I love them. I want Reed to know that I'm really caring for his career and his family. I really want Belle to know that I'm fearing God and I want to do good. Like, I want this to be known. So I prayed to my Creator. Then my Creator changed my heart, changed my actions. Hence how I say he didn't change the people around me. He never went to my mom to be a better son. He never went to Reed to be a better partner. He never went to Belle to be a better relationship. He went to me. And then he changed me, and then my environment changed. So it was really cool that I asked God, I want them to know that I love them. And God says, well, why don't we work on your heart and let them tell you that you changed.
Dang.
Wow.
And this is going to tie to the next topic. I'm just rolling these out, by the way.
Let's go, man.
I asked God. So I asked God, I said, God, I want to live a long, healthy, beautiful life. And I thought my God would extend my life. Like I would go from, I don't want to live to 90, I want to live to 110. This is a human thought. Like, Lord, I want life. So I would think he would increase it on this end. But what happened is that he increased it in the end that I'm in here. For example, if you see older people are wiser and they usually fear God at their end of times. And they're like, oh, like, and then you see old people acting like good people and they're behaving because they're in fear of God and their time is coming. Mm-hmm. That's why elders act like elders. But what happens if you were revealed earlier? Then now my wisdom starts at the age of 31 instead of 41. So I get 10 more years of what I feel my Lord would be proud of and that I would be excited about and not ashamed or guilty of. So he gave me awareness at the day that I have now. So I could have more life today instead of me thinking that he's just going to add to my life later. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Does this make sense?
100%.
Makes so much sense.
100%. You gain wow, dude. It's, you know, it's nice because with every season you blossom so much as a man.
Thank you.
And it's an honor to see you blossom.
Like a flower.
That's all I've
At
ever
every
wanted.
corner.
I just wanted people to see me blossom.
You do blossom. I would love to say something that I had written down and it kind of coincides with what you just said.
Yeah.
And I pray I say this properly. But I have realized this when I was talking to one of my girlfriends and, you know, we were talking about like her relationship with God and her moving towards God. And something that kind of like that was on my heart today to talk about, because I feel like when we talk a lot about people coming to God, usually we're talking about people, they're in a struggling situation. You know what I mean? Like their back's up against the wall and they're going through something really hard and that's when they find God and they find the relationship. But something I kind of want to mention is like, is the time when you find God in your life when you're happy and life's good and you are pretty content with like your earthly belongings and your earthly self and your earthly ways, and you know of Jesus and you know that he's working in your life, but you're also kind of good with how things are. And you know that if you learn a little bit more about him, then that means that you feel like you're like, oh, then I'm going to have to make changes. And I don't want to because I kind of like my ways. You know what I mean?
Oh, so you're saying they sit in the content of not knowing, so they don't have to feel the burden of like having to change.
Right.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's probably something that a lot of people go through because not everyone's constantly going through like an earth-shattering event that brings them to God. Sometimes that's the only way God can open our eyes. But you know, you're kind of like, yeah, oh, I see God moving in my life, but like he's already moving in my life, so why do I need to change?
They're content.
Right. And something that I kind of wanted to say and that I thought about was that if you stop thinking so much about what you have to do and your sacrifices because it scares you and like, well, I'm gonna have to sacrifice doing this, I'm gonna have to sacrifice doing that, doing this, doing that, and you just focus on the one sacrifice that was made for you, then I think that it would take off so much the burden off of you, and that all you have to do is take a step forward and take a step towards God and just learn about him, learn about Jesus and what he's done for you and what God is doing for you versus always thinking about what you're doing and what you need to do. And that when you learn about God and once you understand Jesus, eventually those changes will come, but they'll come because you want to change and not because you feel like you have to.
That's why he calls it a sacrifice.
Right.
But check this out. I'm going to spin a good light on this. The sacrifice is you have to give up your old ways. Mm-hmm. And that's hard. Like you said, well, life is going really well right now. And the worst thing that they get is like, what if I misstep and God takes away something that, there's always that fear. But if they knew their God, they would know that he's a good gift giver. There's a verse where he just kind of shatters humans, and it's kind of funny. He goes, if your neighbor came and asked you for a gift and he was like, I'm hungry, please, I need bread. He goes, are you going to give them rocks? He goes, no, you'd give them bread. He goes, but you're evil. He goes, so imagine me. He goes, if you ask me for bread, I'm going to give you more than bread. I'm going to give you the bread of life. Now, I'm paraphrasing this phrase so I can get you to understand this. A lot of people are scared to move for God because they think God's going to be like, ha, 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 come over here, give me this, and go live in misery for me. And it's like, dude, that doesn't exist. You can't live in misery with Jesus. You'll just change your perspective on things. A lot of things, let me give you an example. Comedy, right? It's the people always say, they go, you can't say something's not funny because one thing is funny to somebody and the other thing is not funny. It's a perspective.
Subjective.
It's subjective, right?
Yeah.
Everything that you see that you think is like, oh, I know God wouldn't want me to see it. Well, once you move towards God and you want to see it the way he sees it, you will willingly give it up. You won't, it's not like he's prying it out of your hands. And it's so funny that people think there's death when you follow Jesus. There's not. And then there's a lot of Christians that are like, no, we must sit here and suffer for God. And they're painting out God to be so, so evil. And that's not true. Yes, there is some people that suffer for God. And, I pray that they are amongst the greats of God. And I'm not discrediting that. But let's just say I've met so many amount of people that when their life encountered Jesus, they just skyrocketed. It's impossible to be in darkness and then going into the light and being like, I don't like it here. It just doesn't add up 100%. Unless your heart is wanting darkness. Then you're not his child. Then that's a whole different problem. Remember, there's a Bible verse where he says, my children will know my voice. So that's meaning that there's children of Satan. That's not even his accountability. He doesn't want it because they don't want anything to do with Jesus. But to wrap up this whole spiel of being scared, that's why when Jesus died, he says, forgive them for they don't know. But the people that turn away from wisdom, they're turning away from God.
100%.
When your parents tell you not to do something and you choose not to do it because you think you know best, you just replaced yourself with guardian and not child. So we do that with God. We tell him what's good for us. And God's like, all right, man, hang out here. See what happens. But the ones who chase him will find life and find fruitfulness because God is a God of fruitfulness. Everything God touches turns to gold and beauty and unbelievable amounts of blessings.
1,000,000%.
So even his breadcrumbs, like a dog on the supper table, I'd rather have the breadcrumbs of my Lord than a meal with Satan.
1,000,000%. Yeah. So if you're happy now because your earthly belongings, your earthly wants, or you're like, ooh, but I love this life, and you think you're happy now, just wait to see how you will feel once you move with God. Also, I want you guys to know, you don't have to rush it. I know a lot of preachers are going to be like, put it down now. You're going to burn in hell. Relax. It's a relationship that's based off of love. If there's a difference between Belle making me a meal and taking care of this home because I'm going to come and pound her face in if she doesn't, versus she knows I'm out there doing the best that I could possibly can to provide her the best life ever. There's two different relationships. Same outcome. Yeah. Two different relationships. I'd rather be the one that's covered with love and grace. And that's who Jesus is. Billy Graham said something that I wanted to share. I saw this in an interview, and they said they asked him during the Monica Lewinsky situation that Bill Clinton asked Billy Graham to sit next to him during some type of thing after that happened. And people asked him, they go, why would you use your reputation, spreading the love of God, and sit with a man who cheated on his wife and give him the glory that God gave you? Why would you do that? Why would you sit there and participate in that? And his answer was beautiful. He says, Jesus came down to love and forgive. He goes, the Holy Spirit came down to convict. And then the Father is the one who judges. A lot of people want to do all three of God's jobs when he asked us only to love and forgive. Yep. The
more and more and more that I search for Jesus like hidden treasure, the more my eyes open and I will not shut for no man. There's a situation that me, my mom, and my dad, I saw was coming from a mile away. Separation through beliefs. And this is where separation of homes happen. Now, my whole life, they've been my king and queens. Whatever they say goes, because my God told me. And you know what? I will admit this. A lot of times my flesh wanted something that my father said no to. And because of my honor that I have for my father, I said no to my flesh to honor my dad, even though I would cry and yell at him and be like, yo, this is wrong, like da 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 da. But then when I followed his footsteps, he brought me to water and gold. And if I would have listened to myself in my 13 to 19-year-old age, I would have fell. Now, mind you, that's not for everybody, because my dad is a good man. Okay. I've never had a situation where my God was telling me it's either them or me in this type of conversation. And that freaked me out, bro. That freaked me out more than anything, because I was like, dude, my parents are going to find this massively disrespectful. And I was sobbing in my mom's arms because we disagree, and this broke her heart. I'm not going to bring up the subject because we're still doing homework on this, and it has to do with spirituality and faith. And I'm sobbing in her arms, and I just go like, this is the worst pain in the world. They believe it's for their God, and I believe that it's not. Now, we came through separation on this. I asked my God, this is my worst nightmare. I asked my God with tears running down my face. I go, God, like, why would you do this to me? Why would you put my house on fire over this if I'm fighting for you? I'm turning on a podcast and I'm speaking for you. I'm doing this. I'm glorifying your name. And then I just said, you know what? Every time I come to this conclusion where I point out to the sky and I say, God, why? The story always ends with, oh, later. So I just said, you know what? I'm going to skip that now, and I'm going to trust you now and just glorify your name. And I just praised him. And I said, whatever you're doing, I know it's going to be for the best. 2 things came out of this. One, the most important one, is I got to learn how to behave when I speak about my Lord and Savior. Because I had to be meek and humble with my parents. Even when they spoke some crazy things and I'm like, hey, yo. And I got like real passionate. But my God says, whoa, whoa, whoa. You're their seed. Shut your mouth. You could still get out what you need to get out across, but you got to do it humble and meek, because you will never have the anointing for you to speak on your father like he's your son. Never. Even if you're representing me, you still have to do it in a humble and a kind, loving way. That taught me how Jesus behaved when he was down here. He obviously was like, you guys are mad wrong, but he never was like wild with these people with his mouth. And he never said things. I had a bad problem that when I was angry, I'm really good at arguing. So I can make you feel really bad really quick. That's a bad thing to do, especially when God gave me the ability to speak with this tongue. I started using it against people instead of for people. I caught that bad habit. Through this, I became super patient with debating with people. Randomly around this time, people started coming to me at the gyms, at the supermarkets, at the mall, at the car dealership. Like everywhere you go, people are coming with their face red. You said this one time and blah, 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 blah. And like one yesterday came a little bit more meek than the other ones, but in front of Simi, my roommate. And she sat there how she was talking. And she started out so passionate and so aggravated. And then when she walked away, she's like, oh my God, it was so nice speaking to you.
Whoa.
We gave each other a hug. She walked away and she just looks at me. She goes, how did you just
diffuse the
diffuse
situation,
that and still stand on what you believe in? And I laughed because I was like, oh, this is what I'm going. This is my boot camp that I've been going through with my family. God says, you want to go preach to other homes? Start in your own home.
Yeah.
Don't go look at their moms when you and your mom have conflict. The second most beautiful part out of that is me, my mom, and my dad have all been sitting around peacefully talking about the gospel. Me and my father never talked about the gospel. I thought when I told my parents about what I've been learning and how I have to kind of walk away from certain type of behaviors, that my dad was like, oh, would kill him.
Yeah.
I have to kill him now. Like there's no, growing up in this house, like this was not even non-negotiable. This is not debatable. And now when I bring up the scripture, I'm like, no, this is debatable. And we have to talk about this. The biggest fear in my life was that this was going to separate my home. And it was going to, my earthly father would turn away from me or think I'm prideful or egotistical or anything like that. But the beauty out of it, because I stayed faithful to my God, is that me and my dad have a better relationship. And me and my mother have a more beautiful relationship. The thing that Satan got me was like, hey, if you tap that, I'll rip everything from you. The same thing that you were saying about learning and growing. But I've never been put in a situation between my God and my parents. And when I chose him, when I could easily more comfortably chose her and still lied to myself, being like, well, no, God, you told me to honor my mom and dad. Yeah, but I didn't tell them to honor them over me. And so when I sat there and I realized my family got closer when the lies of Satan was like, I'll separate you guys. I'll make it that your father hates God and doesn't want anything to do with you, and da-da-da-da-da. And it was all lies. All of it was lies. And the truth that came out of it is like we got closer and more beautiful. I ended up trusting God the way that it was too hard to, and he came out on top. But I just can't see how God works. I just have to trust him. And man, dude, I am very, 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 very excited that I did. And then also, so anytime God, I feel like I'm babbling, but it's just going to be one of those episodes. Any of those times that I adjust my spiritual life and manifest into my reality and other people could see it, this happened this week to two of my loved ones. Two people that I look at and I'm like, I love you. They both made a decision that everybody else is kind of like, this is a hard conversation to like talk to them about. And I looked them deep in their eyes and I was like, nah. And they were like, well, no. And I was like, I go, no, you're wrong. And I love you. And I'm not going to let you sit there and lie to yourself and make me believe your lies. So two people I love, I stood on this business. So much so that my heart was breaking. And I was like, man, they're going to hate me. But I stood on the confidence of knowing that my Lord knows where I'm coming from. I'm not speaking ill. I'm not disrespecting anybody. I'm not letting my emotions get the best of me. And then I say something that hurts their feelings. And then I have to feel guilty about that. No. I have no guilt here. I'm telling you how it is. This is the truth, and I'm standing on it. You're behaving this way, and it's unacceptable. You know better. Your parents know better. So until you wrap your head around it, don't ask me to walk into this imaginary life that you're living. Mm-hmm. Two of my people, I thought I was going to lose both of these people that I love dearly in my life. I thought, in my mind, I'm like, oh, I'm going to lose them, but at least I stood on what's true. And if they walk away one day, God willing, they'll know that I was doing something well. My other friends that witnessed this, that took the fifth, they're like, no, I'm just going to be quiet and just like let this run out, right? They came up to me and they were like, dude, like, thank you for doing that. Because we would never be able to do that.
It's not an easy thing to do.
It's not an easy thing to do. But I was more scared of what God was looking at than what she was looking at or he was looking at. And both of those people pulled me aside, crying, saying, thank you. Because deep down, what you're saying, I know is true. And they told me that they loved me and that they finally saw me in a way that they're like, I know now that it's like unconditional. Like you love us and you'll stick with us and you'll always tell us the truth. Funny how this ties around the same time my prayer is, I hope my friends know how much I love them.
Oh.
You go through what you pray for. You want to be excellent and you want to preach or you want to go and turn lives, you want to do things. There's going to be a crazy hurdle, but are you going to trust God for that plant to start growing and be fruitful? Or are you just going to let it suffocate and die? A lot of people are upset where their position is in life because they're asking God to be bigger, but they want to stay in the dirt. So long story short, if you feel like you're being buried alive, the truth is the devil got you feeling like you're buried and you're dead and this is actually like your grave, when the truth is God planted you and he's waiting for you to sprout and grow to something so beautiful and so unbelievably fruitful. And the only thing that's stopping you, there's only one, your faith. Where does your faith lie? Do you know when your friend comes to you and she's saying stupid things that's going to lead her to destruction? Or your boy's coming up to you with a business idea and you're like, oh my God, this is going to bankrupt him and he's going to go crazy, but I'm just going to bite my tongue. Satan wants you to bite your tongue. Because if your friend knew that you loved him, or your friend that she walks around knows that she like, oh, I know he loves me, is your behavior. A coward could sit there and be quiet. But a real man is ready to risk it for the people that he loves. And sometimes it's just a conversation and yet people run away from it. So have faith. If you know you're doing something with good intentions and you know it's right and you know that's what God would want you to do, stand firm in that and watch the world change, not you. It's either you change to the world or the world changes to you. Man, I just been on a rant. I'm so sorry.
You've been
guys.
running,
No, I think
bro.
it's great.
Everything's so good. I don't even want to take up words, bro.
But I think what's so nice about that is that I think like, you know, we love our friends so much. And when you have a friend that's going through something, I think because you love them so much, you want to say what you think they want to hear. But I think that sometimes you have to kind of be the bad guy. And I think that it's a really hard stance to take. And I think that that is one of the greatest like actions of love, is showing that like, I love you so much. I don't care if you hate me in return, as long as it means that I'm setting you on the right path.
Yeah.
And I think that's really nice. And I also do need to like give your parents flowers for the fact that like, I think a lot of parents get really scared when, you know, their daughters or their sons go against something that they're saying, and then they get angry and they just want you to understand where they're coming from, and that's it.
Yeah, they're moving with fear.
Yeah, but I think what's so wonderful about your parents is that they move in such faith.
Such faith.
Even though they feel like, you know, spiritually they're right about something and that you're on a different side of something, that's a big deal. But they have so much faith that they're like, it's okay. If you're right, God will let us know. If we're right, God will let us know. And they have faith that wherever you guys move, you'll move in the right direction.
I want to pick up right there what you're saying, because it's very important, because there's a thing that you're missing that it's like giving my mom or dad the glory, or it's giving me the glory. But what's actually the silver lining glory of why it's working out is because I put my ego and pride away. They put their ego and pride away. And we sat reading the scripture of God.
Mm-hmm.
We started with bad fights. We started with crying. We started with storming out. We started with almost breaking plates. Like, that's a real thing. It was passionate. But it was only when we received the word of God and we took it seriously. So, like, let me give you an example. I could sit there all day explaining to them why I feel like it's it, and it won't click, because they're like, well, I don't care what my son feels like. He's wrong. He's 31. I'm 60-something years old. Obviously, I have a lot more life than you. But if I say, but this is what Jesus Christ says, it puts people in a headlock where they're like, oh. So, like, I'm saying, trust the word of God. A lot of fights are stemmed more off of passionate about how I feel or how they feel. But if you want the peace, bring the Prince of Peace in there and rely on his words and not mine. So I love what you're saying, but that's giving glory to my mom and dad and me when we were both wrong. And then when we met in the middle is when we prayed about it. When we were done fighting about it, I was like, Mom, we've never had a bad, like we've never had a hiccup in our relationship. And now the word of God is made. That doesn't even make sense. It only makes sense if Satan's doing that, so he could separate us away from the spirit.
I guess it's because like I've seen your mom and your dad be so like respectful when it comes to like, oh, if you want to do like, not about spiritual things, just about other things. Like they'll respect, like, you know, I'm like, oh, I don't like that. And then like, okay, nope, you do it your way.
Yeah, but that's the spiritual realm.
That I really
spiritual
appreciate.
realm, they never back down from.
Right,
They're very, very like passionate, but also like very stubborn. And that's why like old generation and new generation, they don't understand how to communicate with each other.
Yeah, and it's true. Yeah, you guys will go head to head like crazy for hours.
But now it's peaceful because of the prayers.
Yeah.
When we were done arguing, I know it sounds stupid, but I hope that, because there's so many parents and children that are doing this. So that's why I'm kind of tearing my heart out and putting it so you guys could see it. Maybe you guys could read off of the notes that I gathered. And the gathering is, when we were done being stupid humans, we sat and prayed together and said, God, if she's right, open my eyes. And if I'm right, open her eyes. And let us come together. Let your words open us and lead our feet. And the first thing that he changed, but by the way, we both still disagree with each other, but the first step was respecting and loving. That is the first palette of change. And I can't wait to show you guys more of where it's going to go. But this is just the beginning. And like, it is a beautiful thing, but there is no obstacle on earth that God can't go through. And I think this is what our problem is on earth. Like, I achieved a crazy thing with my career, but then I thought a conversation with my parents is not possible. There's millions of people that try to do social media, and I was blessed that God gave it to me. And I'm over here being like, I can't have a conversation with my parents. They're going to leave me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the devil's just sitting there being like, yeah, believe that lie. Bro, we just ranted for 50 minutes.
We all sure did rant for 50 minutes.
Oh, no, it's going to be one of those episodes.
Bro, no, that was...
No.
I think you said all that because I'm sure there's people out there that needed to hear exactly what you just said.
Bro, I feel...
No, all great gems.
On top of the world right now. And if you're in any position in your life, you could be freaking killing it or lost. But man, it's so insane to me, man. And you could ask people on the street if you don't even believe me. It is so insane to me that when you welcome Christ into the problem or the position, bro, it's like the only thing my heart feels sorrow for is like the people that don't have this. the people that walk this earth with these problems and these humans around them, and they don't have a God to guide them, it is unbearable. That to me is hell. That's hell. And it's described as that in hell. Like, hell is described to just be separation of God. I would get rid of every single thing in my life willingly just to have 5 minutes of a conversation with Jesus Christ. If he's like, yo, we could have 5 minutes timed, no minute more, 5 minutes, one-on-one, me and you are talking, but for the rest, you're going to be living in the jungles eating bugs until you die. I'll be like, bro, make it 3 minutes. Make it 3 minutes. I'll eat those bugs with a smile on my face. I'll look at everybody else saying, Hakuna Matata. What a wonderful place.
What would you ask him in those 3 minutes?
Oh, what a great question.
That's
What would I ask Jesus with the 3 minutes?
no. The whole time you're saying that, I was like, I don't know what I would say. Like I was thinking, I'm like,
Yeah.
how could you?
I think the first thing I would say is everything I'm grateful for. And then I think the second thing I'd ask him is, could you reveal to me the things I should be grateful for that I don't know? Guys, this podcast was kind of like all over the place. I apologize. I just
it was full of good things. So don't downgrade wisdom when you give it out because it's true.
I love you guys so much. I can't wait to see you guys next week. We have so many exciting guests coming on. Dude, we never even got to get into Brandon Lake.
That's what I was
all
just thinking about. You don't want to talk about Mark Zuckerberg,
Nah.
the letter, bro?
We already knew that was gonna happen, bro. I don't need to get into that. I
do you mean
think
he did?
the worldly stuff we'll leave that for a whole different episode. I think
We'll
this
do that
episode,
one next one.
Yeah.
And the Brandon Lake concert was amazing.
the Brandon Lake episode.
Don't spoil it. I want to hear about it next time.